yeah, it is about that time, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, welcome to the All Four Downs podcast. I'm your host, Ovi Muniz, and alongside with all of you tuning in to your favorite sports entertainment network. That's right, it's Obi-Wan once again from the HHW Show podcast, brought to you now football because football season's here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's officially week one of the college football season. Yes, and I'm telling you, with all these games coming up, it is about to go down. Like every game counts, every down, every snap, you name it, it is finally here. That's right. And being that it's officially back for the 25-26 season, week one is giving us some heavyweight matchups right out the gate. And I'm going to break everything down for you when it's come to sports betting, because that's what I'm doing here. Sports betting, making predictions. And yes, you could agree and disagree on what I'm saying. But hey, whether you agree or disagree, leave your comments below. Subscribe to this channel, All Four Downs. And if you miss it and everything else, you can always catch up with us on hhwshow.com, and all that will detail later on in the show. But once again, hey, with a brand new brand of, let's say, the lineups of the top 12 teams for the college football playoffs, with everything that's going down, we got some of the T's and some of the I don't know for week zero, but now here we are, week one. So let's get started, shall we? Because we're going to go with first down, the game of the week. Everyone's been talking about it since, let's say, after the spring and everything else. I never got him ahead of myself. The game of the week will be probably, I'm going to let you know later. But wow, I got ahead of myself. Let's recap what happened in week zero. Iowa State, Kansas State. And when I kind of questioned it, like, ooh, what a start. It's not the start that I was looking for, especially in the Big 12, with a lot of the media saying, oh, you know what? The Big 12 should be stepping up their game and everything else. Granted that the Iowa State, Kansas State was not in their home turf. This was in Dublin, Ireland. The weather was raining. And if you saw the game, the lines were faded. But I have to question Kansas State's coaching staff for making some weird decisions throughout the game, and it cost it. And why are you going fourth down in your own territory when you're not going fourth and one, you're not going fourth and two, you're just taking a wild gamble like you're playing the game on your Xbox or PlayStation 5. Listen, every game counts, and I gotta say, Kansas State being ranked at 17 going to the AP poll, more like it's not going to be ranked for going into week two. All right. Going on one, they got a game again in week one, but however, it's just not looking good and not a great place for that team. As far as Iowa State, they weren't looking pretty either, but they did enough to win 24-21. And yes, I was wrong. But I tell you that Kansas State was driving, was trying to get momentum, but always found ways to turn over the ball. And the decision added with the coaching staff, it just wasn't pretty. Okay. Other games, Kansas beat Fresno State. I was correct with there. UNLV won their game, but I'm concerned about the whole entire team itself because, DraftKings and everybody that had UNLV winning so big, like over 25 points, and yet they barely won the game. And as far as Kansas, can they protect Jalen Daniels? Because even though he threw 3 touchdowns, but he was getting hit. And Stanford, a new coaching staff, and yet, man, like they really lost the game themselves. Granted, Hawaii, they ended up, turning things around in the second half, but Stanford pretty much had this game. They were running the ball, they were in control, and yet they still lost. Okay. And then Western Kentucky is pretty much the only game against Sam Houston, that the only team that looked consistent from last year carrying over this year. I believe that Western Kentucky is one of the teams that be uh, playing for the Conference USA championship. They're looking good. So let's see how far they go throughout the season. All right, moving on to second down. Here we go. Now is the game of the week. Now let's get ready for Texas versus Ohio State. While many think it should be a 1-2 game, I'm going to tell you that in my rankings, I didn't have neither Texas or Ohio State. See, they're a little bit lower, but still in the top 10. But I'm not convinced of Texas. Congratulations for the first time being number one in the preseason. But I do not pick Texas to be number one at the end of the season. They will make the playoffs, but a lot of focus is on Arch Manning, but they forget that it's not just Arch Manning playing football. You still got offense, you got defense, you got special teams. And Texas, they lost to Ohio State, remember? Remember the semifinals? People forgot. Even though DraftKings and everybody, they got Ohio State favored by 2.5. And that's nothing. Okay. Usually the home team will have at least 3 or 3.5 favorite just to start. They got Ohio State at 2.5. Okay, favored. Look, there's a lot to go by. Okay, Texas lost to Ohio State 28-14 in the finals, but that was with quarterback Ewers. He is already in the NFL. We got Arch Manning here, who is supposedly the promise guy for Texas, and everyone's cheered for him since he's been with the team because of his last name Manning. Yeah, he's a dual threat, but if you remember, he wasn't as effective against Georgia. All right. And if Ohio State's going to learn something, you could tune in to the defensive plays that Georgia did, not only to Arch Manning, but also to Ewers, because they knew how to defend against both of them. And yes, Texas does play Georgia this year at Georgia. But moving on. Ohio State, however, new look. They got a new quarterback, Julian Sayin, who was a transfer from Alabama. He earned that start a few weeks ago. I predicted he was going to be the quarterback, and there he is. But I tell you that I'm not worried about the offense. It's the defense, because they have defensive coordinator Matt Patricia. Patricia hasn't been awesome, okay? The only time he was actually good is with Bill Belichick for the New England Patriots. Other than that, I'm sorry. I got to dismiss the way that Matt Patricia was chosen to be the defensive coordinator. And on top of that, why did the defensive coordinator of Ohio State move and went to their rival Penn State? I'm just saying, you want Texas to be number one, but can't beat Georgia. Ohio State is losing key coaches to go other teams, and especially the one that went to Penn State, which has a good resume to be a defensive coordinator, and you're going to have to play them too. That's what I'm saying. But for this game, I am taking Texas to defeat Ohio State. And Day's going to have a long afternoon after the game, right, to discuss why they lost. And it's going to be a huge talk conversation. Forget about winning the national championship. Let's not forget that Ohio State couldn't even beat Michigan. Just saying. I'm just saying. All right. So we're going to have to question about the level of the national championship, the way it played out last year. All right. Moving on. Yes, I do pick Texas to win fair and square. So if you're going to go ahead and go ahead and bid, all right, or you go money line, it doesn't matter. But the 2.5, it doesn't matter. You pick Ohio, Texas, you automatically win. That's all I'm saying. All right. Another concern that I have for this game is that LSU versus Clemson. LSU versus Clemson both share something common. They couldn't win their season debut. Now they face each other. Which team is going to not win? Okay. Who? That's right. Brian Kelly has a history since being with LSU. Can't win the game opener. Just can't. Okay. And for Dabo Swinney, Man, they lost last year. Yeah, to Georgia, first game, and they couldn't even score a touchdown. Can Clemson turn things around? Then again, can LSU start off for the first time for Brian Kelly and win week one? Ah, top 10 game. A lot is at stake here, but I gotta say that if I'm gonna be a betting man, yes, I am. Clemson's at 3.5 favorite. I am choosing Clemson to defeat LSU. I'm taking the points. As a matter of fact, I won't be surprised if Clemson itch out over a touchdown to defeat LSU. Okay. You can tune in Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on ABC on that game. Okay. All right. Another game that's fascinating. Yay, Notre Dame made it to the finals and lost, but they made it. Yeah, Notre Dame that doesn't belong to a conference that could play 12 games freely. And no matter what the level of the competition is, Notre Dame is still going to squeak by in to the college football playoffs. Well, let's start right here. Okay. This is the one that you got to win, all right, to have a great resume, depending on how the other team has done throughout the season. But people forget Carson Beck is a champion. Yet he got hurt. Yes, he had no support, no wide receivers to even catch the ball last year. It was a struggle. They couldn't get the running game going. Well, the reason why is that all these elite players, time after time, year after year, they go to the NFL. So eventually, it's going to affect the Georgia Bulldogs. Well, now Carson Beck is with Miami. And yes, the two-time college football champion is going to be getting the ball, right, for Miami. And then you're going against Notre Dame with a rookie quarterback, CJ Carr, who is a redshirt freshman. Okay. Okay. That's all I'm going to say is okay. All right. I'm going to pick and choose the team that has the experience. And they got a great coaching staff there in Miami. No offense to Notre Dame. They do too. But if I'm the betting man here, that 2.5 is lame. I'm picking Miami to win by a field goal. I got a feeling that this game is going to go down to the wire with Miami having the ball, and they're going to kick a 30-yard field goal to win this game. And yes, it could be that this game will be less than 49.5. But until then, I'm going to stay safe, and I am going to choose Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes to win this game. And that, my friend, will be an upset for Notre Dame. Whoop, whoop. Yes, sir. All right. Other three games that I picked straight up. I got Boise State defeating South Florida. Tennessee will be playing in Atlanta for the Aflac kickoff against Syracuse. Syracuse, listen, they just don't do good in the South, okay? Let's just put it that way. Tennessee, SEC versus ACC, it just there's nothing to it. Pick Tennessee. Be careful on the spread to see how it goes, but if it's going to be a blowout for Tennessee to go ahead and run over Syracuse Orangemen. And last, the September 1st, Labor Day, the first time in history that TCU versus North Carolina. That is the debut of Bill Belichick. I just seen one former NFL head coach get beat, and that's in Stanford, okay, with Frank Wright. Can Bill Belichick win? I'm just going to go for TCU on this one, win by a close one. And this is something that North Carolina can build off of this game. But I am taking TCU over North Carolina. All right, going on to third down. Yes, sir. Here we go. My top 25. I still have Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Alabama in the top 4. It's a lot different than the AP poll and the coaches poll, and I get it. I got it. It is what it is, right? But remember this, is that most of these teams that played last year might do it again this year, except for probably the ACC or maybe the Big 12 is going to have a new team. People predict it's Texas Tech. We'll see what goes, right? But the changes is that whoever's in the top 4 will have a bye. And then I'm also questioning, well, the 4 teams that had a bye last year, They all lost. So is it beneficial for any team to have a bye week, or should they just play along week by week? Just saying. All right. Um, but remember this, 12-team college football playoff is the new era, and that means that early loss doesn't automatically kill your season, but it does do a damper in your resume. I'm just gonna throw it out there. And my takeaway: whoever wins Texas and Ohio State will more likely be the number one team moving on throughout the rankings. But please do not overlook at Clemson. Don't overlook at Miami. Okay, and TCU. Then TCU could be a team similar to SMU. I do believe that. But however it goes, college football is back and every down matters. Just like I said in the start of the show, every snap, every down, every inch. Oh, it's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Moving on to fourth down, and this is my dismissal of all of this. All right. Week one is now this weekend, starting on Thursday and moving on all the way till Labor Day. Make sure that you would tune in every week and on your favorite podcast platform for the All Four Downs podcast. And you could either listen or see the show on hhwshow.com, or you go on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast platform for all the updates, my top 25, and of course, the feedback, the recap of each week, moving on to the following week. It is going to be awesome. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm so happy. And I know you're happy. It is going to be fabulous. Fabulous. I know. I'm just excited. I really loving and finally to have the weekends of football. And if you're here in my area in Connecticut, the Yukon Huskies do play this weekend against Central Connecticut. And wherever your local town are, to go ahead and support them, man. Do it up because, man, you just gotta love some football. I'm excited. Until then, take care, everyone. Until next week.